Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I am Raja Digvijay Singh, the Google Developers Group Lead, and I welcome you all to today's competitive programming session. It's great to see you all here, ready to level up your skills in competitive programming. So let's keep this session interactive way from the beginning. Let me know your favorite competitive programming platform in the chat box. I can see a mix of Codeforces fans and Codechef. A few are exploring other platforms as well. Great to see that. So this session is for all of you, regardless of where you are in your competitive programming journey, whether you are a beginner or a pro. Having said that, let me now introduce you all to the speaker of today's session, Apoorv Kumar, one of India's top competitive programmer, Grandmaster on Codeforces, 7-star coder on Codechef, ICPC Asia West Finalist, and currently working as a software engineer at Google. So over to you, Apoorv.
Hello, everyone. So, first of all, thanks, Raja, for the invitation. As you have already explained, I given the introduction for myself. I don't think I'll have to continue on that. And again, I'm very glad to see that a huge amount of people have come. And for the question, I see a lot of lead code forces. I am very surprised that none of the people wrote AdCoder, by the way. In my personal opinion, AdCoder is the greatest platform. So this session is all about understanding competitive programming. When I started competitive programming, nobody told me what was competitive programming. It was mostly for me and for many people, it was a way to get a job. I think if any of you have heard that, maybe you can give a big yes in the comments here or the chat. I think there was a lot of myth, I will say. It is not fact. It is because it is not completely true, but yeah, it is almost true. So yeah, we have all heard that. I mean, there was this one saying in my college that 5-star people go to Amazon, 6-star go to Google, and 7-star go to Rubrik. I mean, if anybody has heard that, I will be very happy to hear because this was very famous saying. So first, let's understand what is competitive programming. Okay, as he has already explained about me, I don't have to go over that. But I think for lead code, he missed one thing that I am also top 5 or 3 in India. I don't remember now on lead code contest rankings. So what is competitive programming? So I always wonder about this question because either it is data structures and algorithm or pattern finding or it's maths. It is basically a combination of all of these where you have to think about everything and every aspect of the problem properly. Okay, so for example, this is what ChatGPT wrote, by the way. I didn't read it before copy pasting it here. I think many of us do the same with presentations. Okay, so skills honed to competitive programming include problem algorithm design, data and implementation efficiency. I think the part that gets us job is mainly algorithm design, data structures, and implementation efficiency rather than the problem solving. But I think the major part of competitive programming is problem solving. So why should you do competitive programming? I think the biggest and the most effect that the competitive programming has given me is community and networking. I have met a lot of people who has same passion as me and are doing competition just for fun and I can discuss with them problems. And again, we have built a strong connection over the years. Even when I was applying to Google, I reached out to one of those people and I just said that I need a referral. And he was like, okay, sure. And for many companies, they just give me referral because we talked to each other before and I had a good community and networking. So yeah, it builds up a good community and network. And for personal growth, I don't think anybody can deny that solving problems which require you to think and you have to think outside the box. It is not always some strategic but single way thinking. You have to think lot of puzzles and lot of pattern finding then and it you can feel yourself growing. I think if anybody has done competitive programming and has felt the personal growth, I mean you can also say yes. I mean and if you haven't felt personal growth, I mean you can say no. I will go on that later because I think if you're not feeling growth in competitive programming while doing it, then there are some issues with the way you are doing it. I mean, I have seen a lot of people faking it many times. So yeah, you can say no. It is not about you are faking it intentionally because I think there are a lot of blogs as well that are false on this aspect. And preparation for interviews is the one of the aspects that many people enjoy and many people start competitive programming. I personally also started for this because I mean, yeah, as I've already iterated, there was a saying in my college that 6-star go to Google. Yeah, I was 7-star. I still went to Google. Preparation for interviews and algorithmic thinking and problem solving skills are what competitive programming basically is, right? So motivation, right? If somebody has done competitive programming and is in any Discord server, okay, I'll say you can say Discord maybe because there are a lot of yeses in here. Yeah, just say Discord because Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes. A lot of you are in Discord servers. Has any of you heard this motivation line? Like, work hard, bro. One day you got 7-star coder, Codechef, legendary Grandmaster on Codeforces. Your CP skills beat Sundar Pichai, and you become next CEO of Google. None of you have heard this. I think if you are in some of the servers, this is very famous. I think one of the CPers also posted this on LinkedIn in one of his achievement posts. So yeah, I was expecting at least few of you. You can remember it now, right? Because you have to just become legendary Grandmaster and beat Sundar in CP to become the next CEO. Yeah, well, so this was motivation, and we have made a lot of fun about this. Like, whenever someone asks for practice, we generally give this block to them. Like, this is your motivation. Now go and solve some problems. But yeah, so again, how to improve? Again, my method of improvement is not. I will not say that it is tried and tested on like a very huge group of people, but on the small group of people that I have talked to, that I have said to follow this strategy, it has worked. So yeah, I can say that the strategy that I'm going to tell you is going to work. And I think this is also a very famous strategy. If you are comfortable, so suppose you are at rating X. Now, those who do lead code, I think it will apply to you on the problem difficulty. Like, for example, medium, hard, easy, easy, medium. Okay, hard, easier, hard problems, or so, right? So I will go on to the rating part because most platforms have rating for the problems except LeetCode. So yeah, for rating part, if you can solve some rating problems quite comfortably. What do I mean by quite comfortably? I mean that in 1 hour you can solve that problem. For example, for rating 1400 while practice, not while contest. While contest, the pressure is different. While practice, you can solve some problem of suppose 1400 in like 1 hour, but you can't solve 1500 in the same amount of time in 1 hour. Then you should switch to 1500 and you should try to reduce that time to 1 hour. Because what I'd say is, if the most difficult problem of rating X you can solve in 1 hour, then most likely you will solve every problem below that rating in contest. Because most of the time, unless you are going at A, you are not going to get a lot of time at problems that are further away in contest. So for example, if you're looking at D, you would have spent some time around 30 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, at least 20 minutes in A to C. Or similar, if in A to B, you would have spent some 15 minutes as well. It happens. So you are not going to get a lot of time after the contest. So that's why it's not 2 hours, it's only 1 hour. So as you are improving this gradually, this rating graph, now for what amount do I know that I'm solving every problem in 1 hour? So it can happen, right? Some problem comes in your strength zone, some problem comes in your weak zone. So what I say is make it a 50%. So suppose if your last 6 problems, maybe 4 problems, whatever works for you, if your last 6 problems of rating 1400 that you solved like 15, more than 15%. More than 15% of 6 problems is 4 problems. So if you solve 4 problems within 1 hour, then it is time for you to upgrade to the next rating of the problems. 1 hour is a lot of time, by the way. Even if you're taking 1 hour in a problem, it is a lot of time. But again, it is not enough that you are still in your comfort zone for 1 hour problems. Okay, if someone takes more than 1 hour, it takes 1 hour 10 minutes to solve a problem. It's fine. You can consider that 1 hour as well. Okay, so this is how I have always practiced myself, and I have always suggested this as a practice strategy. And generally, this is one of the practice strategies that I think works. The only common fact between all of these strategies is getting out of your comfort zone. So, for example, if you can solve some problems in 1 hour, you are still in your comfort zone. Your brain is not pushing itself to think outside the box. You are still inside your box, and like you don't have anything new going ahead. So yeah, this is the practice method that I actually follow, and I actually recommended this practice method, and I think I have recommended this to 2 people, and I have actually also like followed them through. I mean, I made friends with them online, and they were actually practicing very very hard. So I actually like made them friends on like CF as well, and I have tracked them, and they both became CM quite like in 6 to 8 months after practicing like this. And they were like, when I first met them, they were specialists or something. So again, this actually works. I have seen this in a small data set. I have seen it on myself. I have improved a lot with this. Okay, so this is it about practicing and what is competitive programming. Many of you said LeetCode is your favorite competitive programming platform. I think I don't associate LeetCode a lot with competitive programming because LeetCode does not have a lot of math and logical puzzles. LeetCode has a lot of standard data structures and algorithms or techniques. Like there are variations on those techniques, but it's not very like logical variation. It's just that you can read about this structure somewhere and you can just apply that structure in problem. So if you have done lead code, you will also realize that this is something that happens a lot. Also, I wanted this to be a Q&A session because I don't have a lot to say on competitive programming and my journey. So yeah, any resources I would like to recommend for mathematical puzzles? Okay, according to which your opinion is which is best? As I said already, at Coder I believe is the best. Again, AdCoder is best for both the perspectives, even if you're just looking for the interviews. Okay, you can keep dropping your questions. I will read from top to bottom, right? And if your question is answered, I will not answer that again. So yeah. So AdCoder, I think, is good. I think a lot of people have this misconception that AdCoder is only math because it's a Japanese website. But yeah, it has a bit of math, but mostly it has the standard techniques in AdCoder beginner contest. I'm only saying why it is good for interviews because it has a lot of standard techniques that you can remember. I think in one of my interviews, one of the AdCoder beginner contest problems directly was asked to me. I did not solve it. I hadn't solved it before, but I looked into it after that. It was actually on AdCoder as well. So AdCoder beginner contest only. I'm saying that it is good for practice if you are doing for interviews or OAs because a lot of standard variations are present there. AdCoder regular contests are not for anyone who is just doing CP because they want to get a job. Because AdCoder regular contests and above are actually for hardcore CPs who are just doing it for fun, for practicing and for improving CP and actually doing it as a hobby. Any resources I would like to recommend for mathematical puzzles? I think I haven't done any mathematical puzzles apart from practicing on CF and AdCoder, honestly. But I think Project Euler is one of the best mathematical resources. But Project Euler is not very easy as well. It is very high level and it has like 800 or so problems. It is combination of mathematical computing, so you can actually look into it as well. But again, I'd recommend doing practice on CF or CC only because you can only increase on mathematical aspect, but you will not increase on any other aspect. But if you are doing by rating, it's actually very random. So you can your idea and your problem solving skills actually improve a lot more from that. If you're weak in maths, again you can do Project Euler. But at the same time, if you're weak in maths, then Project Euler is actually very not for you as well because as I said already, it is a very high level. I have tried it, but I liked it. But again, it is not I would recommend to anyone who is beginning competitive programming. It will be very disappointing to you. How to make code more time efficient? I think there are very nuances. Now, this question is very vague to me as aspect of if I want to improve time complexity, then again I have to get the idea or I should know a data structure. Mainly, it is knowledge and practice that will make your code more time efficient. Now, after making code more time efficient, currently there was a recent problem on Codeforces where you had to code it properly. Otherwise, the constant factor was big enough. Then you can learn about the language of your choice, how you can optimize the loops and everything as well. So this is the answer practice. Plus, you can learn new stuff about your own language and compilers. At Coder is mostly maths. As I have already answered your, I saw this as that's why I mentioned it because at Coder is mostly maths at harder problems, not at easier problems. Any sheet to follow the questions for the CF. Again, my sheet recommendation would be CACS. So this is the website, CACS. Again, the problems are very nice. There are very many problems. I have solved them. I am not logged in right now, but there are 300 problems here. I have solved 200 of them. But I think if you are practicing, you can solve there. These are all standard problems, and they are from standard problems like from easy algorithms to the hardest of the algorithms. Like there are, I think, algorithms here as well, and major string algorithms as well, like very nuanced algorithms that I think you should not even like learn. But again, for interview perspective, but again, there are problems from interview perspective. One of my seniors was asked one of these graph problems, like flight discount, the variation of this problem. So you can do graph algorithms. I think this is very helpful in implementation as well and knowing standard stuff as well. CSES. In which year did you start CP? I think I started in my second year towards end of my third semester. Again, I had given 3 to 4 contests before that, but not much. So yeah, but again, you can start it anytime. I mean, it doesn't matter. I think it's a very good mindset. I say CP is as fun as like chess. I think for me, like personally, because I enjoy the contest environment as well. Like I enjoy solving problems because it's just a mind sport at the end of the day. Repeat the one more time. Okay. So the method is to always be out of your comfort zone. If you can solve problem of rating X within 1 hour, then problem of rating X anymore will not be helpful to you. Now, on an average, if you can solve more than 50% of the problems within 1 hour of rating X, then you should switch to rating X plus 100. First year starting late code or DS. I think first years should understand like what they want to do as like their job in their job. Like, for example, if you want to go to some like big company, big tech, you can just look at like DSA core subjects and also make very good projects. And also you have to make some connections to get us very easily and internal referrals as well. But again, you can just explore in the first year, I think. I don't think you have to necessarily do CP in first year unless you have some ambition related to CP, then again you are good to go ahead. But I think CP is one of the very interesting things because it is helpful as well as fun. I think very little things are both. People find development fun as well. You can do that as well. I mean, but again, you have to do DSA anyways. How to improve on constructive algorithms? Again, you cannot improve by just like one day I read this book and I improved on constructive algorithms. It's incremental. You have to practice problems related to constructive algorithms, maybe, but again, constructive algorithms generally don't just have an idea of constructive algorithm. They have some nuanced idea. Like you have to find maybe prime numbers only. You have to only look at some values, right? So that's how you improve on constructive algorithms. You just practice problems. I think if you improve on every other aspect in other problems, then your constructive problems already be very good. I think constructive problems just don't have like the constructive part as harder part in them. And what about best editorials if we are not able to solve some questions? I think you don't have to worry about the editorials at all. So there were times, for example, see problems as a challenge to yourself, right? If you're not able to solve this problem, then I think you lost to the problem, right? Then you're accepting defeat that, okay, I was not able to solve this problem. Then I lost to this problem. And I don't think anyone likes losing. I mean, I especially don't like losing. So I don't read editorials very much. I have read editorials for very less problems, actually. And there are some problems that I have tried for, I think, 2 to 3 weeks. And I was able to solve them finally. Again, I mean, it requires dedication. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. But for me, I'm only speaking about CP now. Going to go over DSA and interview perspective because I have given enough take on that what I thought was interesting in that regard. I'm not able to do questions without hints. It's fine. You can. If you're not able to do any problem without hint, then maybe like you should try to solve some more problem, give some more time. Okay, maybe write down your approach and then compare where you are lacking. Okay, so most of the time, what I do is I generally have some ideas, then I compare my ideas to what I missed in actual problem. If I end up reading the tutorials, sometimes I do because now I don't have as much time as I did in college, so I do end up reading tutorials many times now. But even now, I actually compare that what ideas I had gotten and how far I had gotten in the problem, what I actually missed. So it's mostly that you miss some small stuff and I end up regretting reading the tutorial many times because I miss some small stuff which I would have gotten if I tried for another 30 to 40 minutes. So maybe if you had the same issue, like if you are getting the same issue, then don't read the tutorial. If you're not getting the same issue after writing, then you should keep comparing your stuff. And after you are good to go from less than 1,000 rated problems, then you can go ahead with the practice method that I suggested. As she is stuck at some level when she becomes unable to solve new questions. I think I already told you, right? If you're not able to solve a problem, so for example, it will not happen with you that you can solve problem with rating X in 1 hour and you cannot solve problem with rating X plus 100 in 3 to 4 hours as well. I mean, it will happen with some problems, but it will not happen with majority of them. So it's not that you are actually very hard stuck, but again, it can feel. So the graph in CP is actually not very consistently going upward. It's like you come here, it goes steep, then you go above like again. So generally it's like that. So yeah, you can feel stuck, but if you are practicing and your self-analysis should be that you are improving. And again, I have already suggested the practice method. If you're stuck in an X plus X rating, then you should maybe drop down to X minus 100 and see that are you stuck similarly on X minus 100 as well. And for reading the editorial, you know best when you are defeated, by the way. So when you are defeated, you should note that down in your brain that you were defeated. I think for me, it's my tendency that I hate being defeated in anything. Even if I play a game, I always play with the attitude that it's mine to lose. So yeah, can I start from here? You can start from anywhere. Like if I'm expecting that your question is, there are 2 points to your question, here as in time or here as in CSES, anything. But yeah, you can start from anywhere. I started from CSES. Yeah, I started from CSES only. So again, you can start from CSES. One of my seniors suggested CSES is very good platform. So CSES problems were one of those problems where I did not read editorial for a long, long time. And I was able to, I think very fun fact, I was able to come up with DFS in a grid myself doing that because it was, I knew what recursion was. So I was able to think that maybe we can do this using recursion only. And again, I was able to come up with DFS. Then I realized that it is actually known as depth first search. If you don't know depth first search, it is nothing. Just try CSES problems. As a second year student, what should we focus on more projects, learn frameworks and languages, lead code or certifications? I never actually cared about certifications. I never actually saw them because certifications, I think for me, most of the certifications are not very trustworthy for me, is what I'll say. Because if I take some DSA certification, I can just copy paste the solution, right? Because they're mainly only algorithms in any DSA course. Even if I end up getting the certification, I actually did get the skill. And I regret companies even think about the certifications. I had 0 certifications in my resume at the end. I had good projects. I think having good projects is a plus, but having certifications, I'm not very sure. Maybe some good certifications, maybe if you have certificates from ICPC, maybe it might work. But again, it should be like certified organization. I think certifications from coding ninjas or something might not be as legitimate as some like big organization which is actually holding some competitions or similar stuff. What should we focus on? More projects, learn frameworks and languages. As I have already certifications, it's all up to you. People take different paths. So I have only done CP in my college. I have very little dev idea, and I did not do any lead code until very late. I was just doing lead code for contests as well, and I created 2 projects. But again, both of them took like one month. So that was all. And I also required projects in my college as well in term project, I think, and term projects, BTP, whatever it was called, like BTech projects. But that's why I created 2 projects and I put them in my resume as well. Or learn frameworks and languages. I think, again, if you are learning a lot of languages, then I don't know. I don't think anybody will care if you know 10 languages. I think, again, as it is said, I don't fear a man who knows 1,000 different kicks. I know a man who has practiced one kick 1,000 times. So learn one language and learn it like very deeply. You should know everything about that language. If you're talking with someone, you should have the confidence to say that you can go in very deep on that particular language. So maybe if you're maybe go very deep on Java or Spring Boot. I mean, first of all, I have very little idea about frameworks as well. Maybe I'm wrong. And leak code, up to you. As I told, one of my friends did not even do CP at all. He did not do DSA at all. He has like 100 questions on lead code, but he has done like a lot of open source contribution. He has done a lot of development. I mean, if you're doing anything, do it properly. Just don't do everything half-heartedly. If you want to do only dev, then you, of course, for him, it was a blocker that he did not know DSA at all. But again, he got into a good company. But you should also do little DSA. I think lead code should be enough. Lead code should be like, if you're not doing CP, lead code should be one of your priorities, at least, if you want to clear interviews. Because I think many people might say that lead code is not required, DSA is not required. I think it is required. You need to know a lot of things. You need to understand different stuff, right? So try to understand a lot of these things as well. So again, how to learn new topics like graphs, DP, as problems based on those come a little later, not at the level of beginners. How to balance between normal learning new topics. I think as I already gave you CSES problem set, you can start from any topic and you will learn basic structures in them. So I knew a lot of different algorithms way before I was even candidate master. I knew algorithms that I haven't even used until now in a contest. So yeah, knowing algorithms is not bad. I think you can read on them and you can maybe try problems like CSES where you have standard problems on these algorithms, right? So when they come in actual contest and you are able to break down the problem to be used from that algorithm, you will know it. Why is still DSA in the era of blockchain and AI? I don't work on blockchain and AI, so I don't know. But I think if you have a lot of debate saying that maybe GPT can solve most of the DSA problems, I mean, but it will not solve for you in interviews, right? In interviews, you will not be using GPT to solve problems. Many of the people say the same for core subjects, that searching online, you can get the idea for core subjects. Searching online, you can get the idea for development like questions, but you're not allowed to search online in the interviews. That's what differs you from an average person, right? So average person can also search the same stuff that you can, but average person does not have an idea. Average person does not have clarity where to look into it, like where the reasonable docs will be, where the reasonable idea will lie, right? So, and for blockchain and AI, if you want to go into AI domain, I mean, I don't have any idea in that regard, or blockchain and AI domain. So maybe you can look into it. I think first year, if you're in first year or even in second year, explore. I think exploring is one of the best things that you can do. I mean, you are not going that much time in your third and fourth years. You can ask your third and fourth year folks, like they might be regretting not discovering some things earlier, and not discovering many different things, and not giving enough time to understanding that what they want to do. I think there are many folks like that. Even like in my college, I found many people like that. So maybe discover it related to like blockchain and AI. As I answered your question for AI in the regard that that it is going to kill jobs, but yeah, apart from that, I can't comment on anything. I struggle a lot in problems having math tag. Any advice? How can I improve? So there should be a issue in where you are stuck, right? So for example, again, as I already mentioned before, that you can make difference doc, like where your idea went and where you got stuck. So for example, you are stuck in GCD, then try to understand that how that GCD algorithm actually works, right? So GCD is Euler's algorithm, if I'm not wrong. Then you can understand how it works actually. So you will not be stuck later on the same part. Maybe if you're stuck 4 to 5 times, you will not be stuck the sixth time, maybe. Again, just trying to write the difference of what you did and what was actually required. And maybe try to ask someone, one of your friends. Having a peer group is important for this reason only. So try to ask someone that you did this. What is wrong in this? So generally, they will comment that maybe you should have tried that way. So you can also ask why that way only. So maybe if they should also know that why this way was wrong, right? To answer it like why that way was actually better. This way can be wrong for one simple reason, that it is not going anywhere. It is going in loop. It is coming back to its original question, right? How to improve logic building? I easily understand the problem, but get problem in code making sometimes. Simple code. Can I get advice from you? I think I will just say that everything is practice at the end of the day. I generally, whenever I write a solution, I have a habit of comparing my solutions to 𝐂𝐤𝐿's solution. Do any of you know 𝐂𝐤𝐿? I think I cannot see the chat below, by the way, so I'll not be able to see yeses. But because I have to keep track of which problem I'm at. So yeah, if you know 𝐂𝐤𝐿, you should know that he writes like one of the best codes in CP. Like his codes are like very nuanced and like very nice. So I always compare my codes to his code, and I'm like, how he thought of this and why I did not think of the same idea. And I think this is why I think I have a very good code clarity in my code, because I've been comparing my code to his code, or I compare to tourist code, whichever code is better. I think most of the time 𝐂𝐤𝐿's code is better. So what's the course flow, sir? May you please share? There is no course flow. I mean, I don't know many basic DP algorithms, but I do know a very advanced graph algorithm. So it can happen that there's no actual flow in the course. You can just pick one algorithm someday. Again, so for example, but don't pick something very obvious. Like before DFS, you are going to pick like some 3D composition. But again, you should know DFS and BFS first. So before everything, DFS, BFS, and everything else. But after that, you can just pick anything wherever you are stuck, or maybe you can try problems from CSES. You will get stuck. You can try to ask someone who has solved that problem that what is required in that problem. Again, that is the course flow that I followed when I was practicing. So for third year, sixth sem student, should we focus on project or DSA or CP for tier one off campus placement? Tier one off campus. I mean, why not tier one on campus? But I think project or DSA or CP. Now, when you try to build your resume, ask yourself, do you have 2 to 3 good projects in your resume? If your answer is no, then you know what you have to make. Then every day ask yourself, did you practice a problem today? A DSA or CP problem today? Now, one problem of DSA, if you're practicing for lead code, it is going to take you like 20 minutes to 1 hour. So just give yourself some time on that, and rest of the day start creating a project. Because having a project in your resume is like telling a person that, okay, you know how to create this stuff, so that they can select your resume and they can ask you questions later. As a student to get into FANG, don't know anything about coding. There is no roadmap, by the way. My FANG story is very anticlimactic. I did not get any offer for a long time. I did not get any intern offer either. from FANG. So yeah, there is no one like globally acceptable strategy. You can be very good in CP and you still don't get a Google offer or any FANG offer. But at the same time, you can be a bit average in DSA and bit good in dev and you can get FANG offer. Everything, but you should not try to get FANG. You should try to get, can I get at least something, some baseline, set some baseline for yourself. I want to get an offer above this baseline. For example, I want to get an offer above 20 LPA. So what do companies generally ask above 20 LPA? Create a list of the companies, look at their interviews, look at the resume, maybe look at the resume of the people, maybe ask one of your good friends or maybe one of your good seniors to review your resume. What is the fault in your resume? How you could like rephrase your resume and make connections to like send your resume to recruiters or people. I think it requires a lot of effort. I know during placement time, few of my good friends who are placed in good companies right now, they used to wake up for they used to wake up and their 2 hours were reserved for like building their resume or sending it to recruiters or applying to different jobs. Now they are in good companies because they were like creating their resume like perfectly tailored for the company. Like what company works on, your project should have the same language, maybe. I mean, for startups, it actually helps. What's goes closer? Maybe please share your resume. It's very outdated and it was very bad, by the way. So I might share it to, maybe I'll share it with Raja, and I will ask him to maybe share it with everyone. I'll have to make some changes. I cannot share it right now. Can you tell us about the projects you made? Yeah, for projects. So I built 2 random projects from this website. Build your own X code crafters. You can maybe build something here as well. I think a lot of very interesting bits here. What did I make again? I made a BitTorrent client. Where it is? I don't even remember where it is now. As you can see, okay, it was there. So I created a BitTorrent client in Go because I was learning Go at the time, because in my personal opinion, Go is the best language. I mean, you can make some projects from here. How the projects here are helpful is that you can actually create a database and you will get the like granular understanding of database. And if it is asked in an interviews, the questions from database, like normalization and everything, you will know because you created a database yourself. So again, it is very helpful. And I created a networking project because I did not have like very good grasp in networking problems. So I created a networking project to understand like how actually like networking works, how you make projects, what special things you do in that highlight. I think creating something new is a good thing, first of all, but using something that is very interesting is best. Like for now, just don't everyone don't end up making BitTorrent client, because it was very obvious in my college that a lot of us ended up making it after after like first 3 of us made it. After I think every other guy had BitTorrent in his resume. But again, you can look at something similar that is like very deeply related to some core subject, because companies would prefer that. Companies would not prefer you to have their own client, because you don't know what they are using internally. But you are, if you know basics of everything, basics of database, basics of network, computer networks, and basics of like operating system, companies would prefer that, because now you can learn everything else faster. Can you share the resources you use for CP? I have shared for practicing CP. I actually use like CSCS mainly in the start, and now I only practice on Codeforces or @Coder. I generally practice on Codeforces. I don't like @Coder's UI mostly, but @Coder problems are, I think, in my opinion, I like them because they are much more reasonably like built. Can you share the resources? And for learning resources, I am using this website, CP Algorithms, by the way. You can just search CP Algorithms and you will get this website. If you don't know anything, you can just learn your data structures. Like many segment trees are all here. Pre, square root tree, randomized tree, DSU, Fenwick tree, and like even advanced data structures. It is nothing. And even like graph algorithms, lot of graph algorithms are here. So you can learn everything. This is very nicely built. I had an app for this website, and I even printed a book for this. I used to read it whenever I was free. There was once a light outage of 2 days. I don't remember when, but I read like 3 to 4 chapters that book on that day, because I had nothing to do, because phone was not working. There was no like no internet and at all and everything. So the typical roadmap for a student look like who have still not found his her field of interest. I don't know. I mean, I have told you many things, but again, I have only chosen one path, right? I cannot give you guidance on every path. You should actually just, I mean, you should just try to follow someone that you think relate more to, or just maybe try to follow some path. I think every path, wherever you work hard and you try different things, you get success, I think. But again, you have to work hard at the like precondition. How to prove greedy ideas, or proving really necessary? I think for proving stuff, I was not very fond of proving things either. But in recent times, I have loved proving my solutions. Mainly, you can prove in two different things. If you're proving that some answer is some value, then you can say that the answer should be less than equal to this and greater than equal to this. Then it should basically be equal to x. This is one of the ways. The way that I have mostly proven my solutions is principle of mathematical induction, which I generally like right now. I have proved some greedy ideas with that as well, by the way. So yeah, and apart from that, I think it's greedy ideas mainly come with solving many problems. You build that intuition and you know that something is going to work or something is not going to work. Experience and preparation strategy. I think for anyone who doesn't know, Google only asks DSA in their interviews. Google does not ask anything else apart from DSA. So being a grandmaster on Codeforces, I did not have to do anything else. I was just waiting for my interviews to happen. So I mean, maybe I was very, I would say, arrogant to not even look at Google tech problems. But yeah, I was confident that if they throw some algorithm at me, I'm going to be able to solve it. So yeah, I was able to solve each and every one of my problems in interviews. So not a bad experience. But again, preparation strategy, I think if you depends if you're close and if you're far. For Google, I think having basic understanding of some algorithms and like if you want to have like if you get a Google interview and you want to be a to definitely get into Google, then I think candidate master is one of the skills. If you want to be like very very sure, then it's candidate master, by the way. If you want to be reasonably sure, then I think knowing basic algorithms and doing basic lead code hard, by the way, is enough. Yeah, thanks. I have I have made life difficult for Raja, I guess. He has been like pasting links. Thanks a lot. What is the ideal roadmap for machine learning? I have not went on to that side at all. I don't know. Once I started learning once I wanted to like go into AI and ML, one of my friends who is actually into AI and ML, he threw me like some 20-30 lectures on applied mathematics and some other stuff. I quit. I quit at the moment when he did that. I mean, yeah, I don't know ideal roadmap. I think ideal roadmap is to build some basic stuff first. I think he just overwhelmed me, but you can just start building some basic like I think decision tree is one of the things that I know. I mean, I can only throw some words at you that I've heard. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, as I've said, I can't exactly share my resume right now. So I'll share it with Raja definitely after this ends. Maybe by end of the day or by end of tomorrow, and maybe he can share with all of you. My resume does not have a very good, like my resume was not very good. It was not. One of my friends that I asked, he roasted the hell out of it, by the way. And he's like one of the most respected people. Yeah, do you have any tips or important things that you should know as BTech first? I think you should chill out. Maybe people will say things are hard. Just calm down. I think having like calm appearance is one of the best things. Just be calm all the ways, all the time, and just try to explore different things. I think the real pressure comes from third year onwards. For first 2 years, you can just explore things. But again, you should, the one of the best things that I have said, you can do CP always. It can always be like, my journey to Google was very anticlimactic. I got like 100 or so rejections before my offer to Google. By the way, I only had one offer, and it was Google. And fun fact, Google was my dream company as well. I did not want to go to anything like NHFTs or anything. I just wanted to get into Google. So I mean, I only got one thing, but I think that was the thing I wanted. So I was very happy. And I got my Google offer at the end of April. I got into Google off campus. As I already mentioned before, I don't have a very good idea about like projects and development. I can say that creating good projects, of course, helps. Understanding them also is a must. And development, I have not read. So those are some uncharted territory for me. I mean, I would say like making some open source contribution is definitely a good thing. I mean, I think if I want to do development now, if I want to do something now, I would definitely make some open source contributions. There are a lot of very good open source projects. I think entire C++ is open source. So yeah, can you give roadmap to get into a personal team? Fang, if you don't know anything about coding in his third semester. Yeah, I think I have answered this. For Fang, there is no perfect strategy. You can just take the list of the companies, what is actually required for them, what type of people get into those companies. I think if you look into it, a lot of CPS get into these companies, but it is mainly, I think, luck factor also, because if the companies come on campus, then they actually just take OAs and shortlist based on those things. So it is easier for CPS to do all of that stuff. I think off campus, if you look at off campus, I think it should be much more random. But again, CPS have a better chance of clearing it. As I have said, the harder questions asked in Google interviews sometimes actually only be solved by like a high rated CPS. So expert is good enough. CM is making sure that you are going to get your interview correct if you get an interview. And apart from that, I think below that is also good enough. But again, it also depends a lot on your interviewer. When learning a new topic, what are your thoughts on reading blogs or CPL versus watching video lectures? So I think I do both. It is so first reading blog is better because reading blog you get you first build up your own idea regarding the topic, then watching video because video is someone else's interpretation of that idea, right? For some algorithm, someone's video lecture. So for example, I read I first read a blog on one topic. I will name centroid decomposition. So the blog had a different idea, different approach to solving problems using centroid decomposition. Then I saw a video. It was entirely different way of using centroid decomposition, and both of those ways are very nice, and they are so different that they solve different types of problems. So yeah, I say that watching blog first is a good idea. Reading blog first is a good idea because it gives you a higher level understanding of the topic. Then watching some videos to interpret the ideas of the person who is creating the video. I think there are no more questions now.
So thank you, Apoorv, again for taking out time from your schedule and having this session.
Yeah,
And
thanks, Raja. Definitely for inviting me.
And thank you everyone for joining today's session. I hope the insight shared has given you a new perspective towards competitive programming. And as Apoorv said, that the journey is as important as the destination. So keep that thing in mind. Just keep practicing and stay focused towards your goals. So thank you
Yeah.
again.